Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Chris Captures back again, and I thought I'd just do a super quick video breaking down my thoughts and opinions on the One Piece live action. I know it's been out for a couple of weeks now. I'm a bit behind on this video because I've been working on some other projects, but I am here to tell you my thoughts and opinions. And I just want to dive straight into it. I want to say this show was fantastic. It was far and away the best live action anime adaptation I have personally ever seen. I haven't watched all the Rurouni Kenshin movies or anything like that, but for me, this really hit the mark. Everything about this pretty much hit the mark for me. The acting was incredible. The world building was stunning, beautifully crafted. The writing on the whole was pretty damn good. The way that they transitioned from anime to live action really worked. The changes that they made on the whole worked. It just made it a better experience for live action. The costume design was phenomenal. Everything. Oh, the score. Oh my god. Let me talk about the score. The score has been on my daily rotation ever since. It is genuinely, it's heartwarming, it's world affirming. It was incredible. Like Nami's fight song is incredible. The fact that we got a full rap for Arlong Pirates, which by the way, giving them a hip hop soundtrack was fantastic. So well thought out, super smart. Boogie's theme, incredible, and even then getting the hints of We Are every now and again, using it sparingly as well. I know a lot of people were saying if that is not the intro credit scene, then We Are Rioting, but it didn't really have a theme. It had credits at the end of every episode, but they used We Are perfectly. Every time that the crew had a big moment of togetherness, this is them setting sail on their journey at some point. We got that moment twice. They used We Are, the original intro, perfectly for those moments. It brought a tear to my eye. I have been binging so much One Piece. I've literally read 4 volumes in the last day. I am hooked because this show got me just so excited to just get more of that inside of me. I've been reading loads of other things, and then after watching this, I just had to read more One Piece. It feels so good to be reading it, and I'm using that score as the soundtrack to my reading. Whether I'm on the train, whether I'm sat at home, I will put that score on and listen to it while I'm reading because it works so well for One Piece. I want to say now that there was not a single piece of misplaced casting. Inaki Godoy was the Luffy that I needed. We needed our heart and soul of the show to be perfect, and he was. Oda himself said he was the only one who was born to play Luffy, and he proved it in every single scene. Emily Rudd was every level of Nami that we needed her to be. She played both sides of Nami perfectly. Makenyu as Zoro was fantastic casting. He nailed everything from the fight scenes to the cheesy dialogue that Zoro needs to pull off with the highest level of cool. Taz Skylar as Sanji nailed it, but I don't feel like we got enough of him in season 1. I'm hoping season 2 he really gets to nail some big moments, which if you've read the manga for Alabasta, you know he gets some pretty cool moments. Mr. Prince, I'm looking at you. And Jacob Romero, our final Straw Hat, nailed it as Luffy. Sorry, did I just say nailed it as Luffy, even though I'm talking about the legend himself, Usopp the Great and Powerful? You know, Usopp, God Usopp, brave warrior of the sea. Sorry, I meant he played Usopp fantastically, not Luffy, obviously. Back to it. That lovable, charming little rapscallion that he is, he played it perfectly. My only thing is, I feel like they kind of butchered him with his moments in the season. I'll get into that a little bit later, but my downside was how they wrote Usopp in this series. Nothing to do with the performance. I think he nailed every scene that he was given, and my issue was he wasn't given enough scenes. These Straw Hats together felt so good. They felt like a family by the end of the series. When they set off and they put their feet on the barrel as they head towards Reverse Mountain, I had tears in my eyes. It was fantastic. I loved every single moment with these actors as these characters. I think if they slipped up on any of the casting anywhere, this might not have worked as well as they did, but everybody seems to just know what they needed to do. Perfection. The absolute stunning set design and world building that they did was incredible. They nailed the appearance of One Piece. They added colour and weird textures to everything, just like Oda does in the manga. But at the same time, they brought just life. Everything felt worn and used and weathered. It felt like a living, breathing world. It didn't feel like you were on a set at any time. It's going to sound weird, but it felt like a rock that you find on the beach. You know how it's all rounded and it's smooth? Like, it was a well-rounded world. It was smoothed out. Everything was worn and battered in a way that made it feel weathered and real. It wasn't like you were on a soundstage anywhere. It didn't feel like that, and I'm so glad that they did as much practically as they could. I feel like it was only really Sanji's backstory that it felt like he was like on a green screen or in a volume, but even that, it worked perfectly for that scene. And the fact that they went into each of these characters' backstories and gave them the version of their backstories that works and is like true to them worked so well as well. These ships looked fantastic. The fact that you could have them interacting with a real ship and not everything was CGI, just chef's kiss. The love and passion that went into this series worked fantastically. I just want to gush about this series. Let me talk about the writing and then I'll talk to you why I think this was such a big success. For me, the writing on the whole was incredible, but the only issue is we had 8 hours of TV. 8 one-hour episodes. Fantastic what they did in that time. The only trick is you're trying to condense nearly 100 chapters of manga into that section. This left some of the stories to be a little bit truncated. The beginning part of the story, people are saying they strayed away from the original source material because Nami was introduced sooner, but that's how they did it in the anime, and the anime works just as well. Having them interact at the same time assaulting the marine base really worked with gelling these characters together. It made them believable, tying the 3 of them together in such a short amount of time. The downside for me, Arlong Park still works on the whole. They truncated some bits. I would have liked to see a few more of the interactions that we missed, a few more of the side characters like Genzo being a little bit sidelined, but it still worked fantastically on the whole, and Arlong Park still nailed the emotional resolution of East Blue. For me, the downside was Syrup Village and Usopp's backstory and stuff like that, because it felt really rushed and they changed that story quite a bit. I felt like I wasn't buying the whole Kuro situation. It felt like his motives weren't as fleshed out as they were in the manga, and it felt like, why is this all happening and why is everyone getting caught up in it? And then it kind of left off on like a little bit of a lackluster sort of fight. Like, the characters didn't get the resolution from that arc that I feel like they needed. But that is literally just because they had to narrow it down. They changed Baratie even more that they changed Syrup Village, but Baratie still worked because what they changed still worked for the characters, and it got us used to Sanji and it gave us his backstory. It still drove the plot forward, whereas Syrup Village, other than them getting the Going Merry and getting Usopp, it didn't really do anything much for me for the characters. But having said this, Jacob Romero really nails Usopp. My downside was the writing at that part. A lot of the lines between Kaya were with Nami. They gave them the friendship. All these lines that Usopp should have had to build their relationship and build the audience's relationship with Usopp were given to Nami. So it felt like in his own spotlight part of the series, he was being sidelined. That was my only issue. Like I said, his acting was phenomenal with it, so they could have easily have given those lines to him, but instead they gave him to Nami. I think for other people who are maybe not as invested and they're giving the show a try, they wanted to keep Nami as like the second lead almost. You had like Luffy, obviously captain, and then you had Zoro and probably Nami level or Nami slightly above. They wanted her to be more prominent probably, so the Arlong Park resolution at the end of the season had more of a payoff to maybe people who aren't as invested in the series already, which works. And that basically brings me on to my last point, how well this series works, especially introducing new viewers. I have been trying for years to get so many of my friends to read or watch One Piece, and because it's such a commitment, a lot of them have said no. They thought it was just this weird goofy series that I was reading. They just weren't willing to invest themselves into 1,000 episodes or 1,000 chapters plus at this point. And this show worked perfectly at getting new people into the series. Whether you thought it was a 5 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, either way, it got so many new people to watch it. The figures from the first 4 days of launch from Netflix were revealed. They got, I think, 180 million views. 180 million views on a series that is so niche like One Piece. It was their most trending show ever. Hey, sorry, another little editor's note. I got some of my numbers slightly wrong here. I said 180 million views. It was about 140 million watch hours in the first 4 days. So it's definitely cracked through that 180-hour mark now, but I said views instead of hours viewed, like not individual viewers, whereas it's sitting more around 18.5 million in the first 4 days. Bear in mind that was just the first 4 days figures that we have. It's been out now for more than 2 weeks, so these numbers hopefully have increased. That's normally what Netflix likes to do. They see how the second and third week viewership goes, because it shows that it's become popular, word of mouth has spread, and it's had like a second boost after the first week. So we're just waiting for the final figures to come out on weeks 2, 3, all that sort of stuff. But I did get my numbers slightly mixed up. They were there, I just described them in the wrong way. But check out Dan Murrell's video, it'll be linked down below. He talks about all the streaming results from the last few weeks. He hasn't put out a new one in 8 days, so the numbers are outdated now, but this is where I was getting my figures from, so just wanted to clarify I did get my numbers mixed up. It is crazy what they've done to introduce new people. It was accessible to everyone. It was only 8 hours of television. They did the same thing that something like Stranger Things could be more niche, but they worked with it the same way. It worked perfectly for this style of show. The figures were really promising, and there was rumours and talking from executive producers and writers going around everywhere that season 2 was just waiting to be greenlit. And with these successful numbers, we can officially say, Netflix announced it the other day, you might have seen my short, that we are getting a season 2. Oda Sensei in a video drew Chopper and confirmed Chopper will be in the series, and I know for a fact he will make sure they do Chopper right. Oh, I can't wait. Season 2 is going to be crazy. You thought season 1 was good and emotional and impactful? Wait until season 2. Alabasta is still my favourite One Piece arc. I'm now at the beginning of Water 7, so I've read a few arcs now, and Alabasta is still going to be tough to beat for me. It just works perfectly. Vivi, Chopper, the political intrigue going into just a huge fight and like back and forth. The series works so well during the Alabasta arc. It's going to be crazy. I hope they nail it just as well as they did with the East Blue. But yeah, if you are a new viewer who have come to this video because of One Piece live action, thank you, and thank you to the guys who created the One Piece live action, because you have grown our community. It was confirmed the other day that One Piece has now outsold Harry Potter as the highest selling fiction book series. That is crazy. The early 2000s was a new generation of book readers, and we all got into Harry Potter with Warner Brothers backed multi-million pound like movies. They were A-list movies. One Piece is a series that people struggle to get into because it is so big, and a lot of people in the West, most people don't know what it is. My wife sat there and watched all of One Piece with me. I cannot even get her to watch a single episode of the anime, but the live action was a lot more digestible for her to do. My friends are all now into it. People randomly in work, I will be at the water cooler filling my bottle up, and I'll be wearing a Zorro t-shirt, and they know who Zorro is now. They are coming up to me and be like, oh, sick One Piece t-shirt. Yeah, I just started the live action, and they're loving it. People are talking about it. It's getting normies into this sort of thing, and clearly so many people are going out and buying the manga since, because the numbers have skyrocketed. It is such a good time to be a One Piece fan, and I'm so excited. The show nailed everything that it needed to do. Yes, it wasn't perfect, but it was damn near it, you know what I mean? For me, this was easily an 8.5 out of 10. My friends were saying it was a 9 out of 10. You know what I mean? They didn't have any context, they didn't have anything to compare it to, and they were saying it was a 9 out of 10. And some of my friends are really skeptical, so that is high praise. Especially this season where we've got things like Ahsoka coming out, and we got loads of big nerdy properties. One Piece was still managing to get through. They timed the release perfectly as well. There was no Marvel movies in the cinema at the time. Like, obviously we were during the writer's strike at the moment, so things are being pushed back. So it might be a while before we see season 2, but I'm just going to keep rewatching season 1 until we get it. It's so good, and I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that made it. Thank you to you guys for coming to the channel and hearing me ramble about it. If you want me to break down more specific things about it, I can do, because I loved it. They brought in the deep lore when they needed it to. They brought in like things that only die-hard fans would know, and they set up so much. They're not filling in the world retroactively. They've got the benefit of hindsight. It works so well. So that is me gushing about this for, what, 10, 15 minutes. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but I loved it in every single way. I thought it was exactly what we needed, and as a One Piece fan, it made me really happy. So yeah, that's my review. I've tried ending this 3 times now, so I'm just going to say, don't forget to like and subscribe if you like to the channel. If you want to hear me talk about One Piece more, I'm talking about the trading card game in some videos, and I'm also working on a big review. I know I've mentioned it in my last few videos, but I've got hours worth of audio, I have got hours worth of footage. I am trying to meld it all together and finesse the editing, and I'm so excited for you guys to finally see that video. It is going to be my biggest project on YouTube by far, and I hope you guys like it. So remember to hit that bell so that you get notified when these comes out, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Like I said, let me know what you want me to talk about. I'll talk about anything.